So we've got some good news on Bernie Sanders in once again. So there has been no polling done in New Mexico. Okay, New Mexico, Emerson College put out a poll of theirs. Now there are some qualifiers that we need to add to this. One of them being is that it does seem to be the case that Emerson is pretty kind to Bernie Sanders. It does seem like they always have like Bernie at the highest that he gets. So that's one thing. The margin of error is 4.6%. And I always tell you guys this. Don't, take one poll and sort of make that your big thing, right? Because obviously there's a thing called an outlier, right? So you don't want to, be mistaken based on an outlier. And so the problem is there's no real clear politics average on this, so we have nothing to go on. But this, and also you've got to recall that we've been in a drought of polls. So there really is no reason for an aggregate right now. We're just looking at what the polls are coming out because there have been virtually no polls. That YouGov poll that came out the other day is the first in a while. So there's been a massive drought. So Bernie Sanders is in the lead. Bernie is at 28%. Biden is at 27%. Yang is at 10%. Warren is at 8%. Buttigieg is at 7%. And then it goes on and on. Now, a lot of people are like, oh man, Yang is at 10% in New Mexico? What the heck? It is worth noting that New Mexico did have a libertarian governor, Gary Johnson, or he was a Republican. So, that kind of makes some sense. And even more good news is in 2020 Mexico head-to-heads, Bernie Sanders is performing the best. So Trump is at 41%, Bernie's at 59% in a head-to-head with Donald Trump. Pete Buttigieg is at 55%, Trump is at 45% in a head-to-head. And in a head-to-head between Biden and Trump, Biden's only at 54%, while Trump is at a 46%. And then Warren is at 54%, with Donald Trump at 46%. So this is just more evidence to the case, which is that Bernie Sanders is more electable than all of the other candidates who are in this race. Elizabeth Warren, obviously. Joe Biden, obviously Pete Buttigieg. So this is why, he is the guy to, beat. And he should be the candidate. Now, another thing I just wanted to add, this is on 538, okay? They give grades for pollsters. Now, it is worth noting that Emerson College does have an A- grade from 538. Whereas, something like a CBS YouGov, you can see here has a B-. So, although it seems to be a little bit off, they have a really good rating at 538. So I definitely wouldn't just swat it to the side. This is definitely some interesting news. And again, we've been in a drought of polls right now, so any polls that we get right now are pretty crucial in determining what is going on right now in the United States in terms of polling and how people feel about, candidates, etc., etc. So this is just more good news. Bernie Sanders again in the lead slightly against Biden in the New Mexico 2020 Democratic primary. Okay. Also, we're noting New Mexico doesn't vote until June 2nd, so that is pretty deep in the primary, of course, but doesn't matter. Very, very important news. So this is very, very good news for Bernie Sanders. He is in the lead, as well as he demolishes Donald Trump, whereas the others perform worse than he does, reinforcing the fact that he is the most electable candidate in this race.